Thank you very much for that. Richard was just checking the sound. I am sorry, ever so sorry. We experienced a few technical difficulties and we were recording the Now Debate to ourselves once again. Oh my God. This has turned out to be one hell of a day. I'm Jared Walters, your humble host here with the Sam to my Dean, Mr. Richard Oliver. Richard, how are you?
I'm okay for the second time. I'm okay. I'm good. Yeah. Right. It was a good double check because we would have been talking to ourselves for another hour. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Hello to Suzanne, hello to Amy, hello to Amanda. Amanda said you should never keep a lady waiting. We shouldn't. I don't think I'm ever going to get used to using this technology. You call yourself a dinosaur, but I'm not far behind. If you're a dinosaur technologically, I'm a woolly mammoth,
If I was in charge of this, God knows what we'd be watching.
Well, Richard did bore us to death for about 5 minutes on sociology.
I did,
which I don't think we want to repeat, but it was wonderful.
I bored myself. That's how boring it is. Bored myself. I mean, like I said, I've been doing this since Saturday, and oh my Lord, yeah.
Shall we get down to the nitty gritty?
Yes. Well, we were talking. Go on. Well, what were we talking? I can't remember how we started it, but we were talking something about the Pope.
Yeah, well, basically, you shared a story to do with EVP, which I was kindly corrected in the comments, right? Interesting story, this. I have always interpreted it as electromagnetic voice phenomena, which actually makes sense to me. But it's not. Yeah. It's electronic voice phenomena, which I've probably put on several videos, electromagnetic voice phenomena. And I've had it wrong. So some paranormal expert. I just experience this stuff and show you guys. I'm no expert. Don't call me something I'm not. I'm not an expert. I don't claim to be. I don't do science. I walk around with a camera and hope stuff happens.
Yeah. Yeah, we're like wildlife photographers. That's all we are. We just go to. We just hope the ghost cat shows his head. We sat there for 3 hours.
Well, you shared the one thing that you guys missed out of our deliberations amongst ourselves, talking to an audience of non-existent people, because I didn't press the go live button again, was a story about electronic voice phenomena, which you mentioned about the Pope. Because we were talking about, before you can start, sorry, I'm talking here. I'm only joking, sorry. No, before we start, we are going to do a show later on, hopefully this weekend. We will advertise it, where we're going to go through some of the comments and feedback and stories and points of view some of you guys have shared with us, because we have had some absolutely wonderful feedback. We've had you guys have been watching more of our videos. I hope you're enjoying the new style. The numbers are telling me that you guys seem to be enjoying it a lot more. And we want to do a show separate to the Now Debate, which is probably going to be once a month or once every so often, where we share some of your guys' feedback, the things you shared with us, because it's been absolutely wonderful. It has. It's touched our hearts. In a good way. Sorry, Richard. I may cut you off there. I apologise.
Oh, you okay? I was just going to... Basically, we mentioned the Pope earlier, and I said I have an interesting EVP story in regards to the Pope. And it is one of the first documented EVP cases. And basically, it was a young monk, and he was recording on a thing called wax and string. And he was recording a choir. And he was having great difficulty this day recording on this device, because I can imagine it's quite old and figgledy. And he kept snapping the string and trying to fix it. And he said, because his father basically had taught him how to do this. This had been handed down. And he said, "Oh, Dad, I wish you was here to help me." And on listening back to the recording, there was his father's voice, and the Pope knew his father as well. And there was his father's voice coming through saying, "I am always with you, son." Now, the young monk, obviously, as in regards to religion and speaking to the dead, he kind of frowned upon it, as you all know. And he obviously was a bit panicky. He took it to the Pope and said, I think I've committed this sin and whatever. And the Pope listened to it and said, no, that's not you talking to the dead. That's the dead talking to you. There's no sin committed. Your father wanted to come through. He saw an opportunity. And it was archived, and a bit of research went into it. Apparently, I don't know where the story came from. I read it years and years ago. But yeah, that's apparently one of the first documented EVPs, and it was done with the Pope. So,
well, the reason we brought that up is because part of this other show, I don't know what we're going to call it, perhaps we'll call it Not Really the Now Debate, which is kind of ripping off a little bit off Steve Shives with his not actually track actually, but I just love the premise behind it. But we'll think of a name and we'll put it out on the weekend. But the reason was we were going to have a segment where we called it Things We Got Wrong on the Now Debate. And
that's
I
right.
mentioned earlier that I was corrected by my interpretation of electromagnetic voice phenomena, which doesn't exist. It's actually electronic voice phenomena. I personally think it's a Mandela effect, but we won't go into
that. And I basically got the Pope prophecies wrong, where I said we are the last but one Pope according to the prophecies, and we're actually the last. Which is kind of daunting, because apparently this last Pope, and that's it.
Well, we're going to have a scoreboard for things we got wrong on a Now Debate. Maybe we'll have to have like a paranormal themed punishment or something for the first 1 to 10 or something. We'll trust you guys to catch us out on that. So perhaps it'll be a little bit of fun we can have on the channel. Well, I've been doing a little bit of research. Not really research, but reading up basically on what the popularized website of the day, Wikipedia, has to say about EVPs. Apparently, it was popularized by parapsychologist Konstantinos Radiv. I have no idea how to pronounce that name. Who popularized the idea in the 1970s, describing EVP as typically a brief sound, which sounds either like a word or a short phrase. Scientists, or at least the popularization of science by the mainstream media that believes that everything is solid and science knows everything, says that it's nothing more than pareidolia and people basically witnessing patterns in sound which are not really there and should be ignored, which I feel is a very, very unfair view of science. Because I think if you talk to a lot of these people who are actually interested in this, in the realms of science that explore consciousness, then they will be open to have a debate with you, but they come at it from a different point of view. And I actually believe it's kind of an auditory pareidolia. I would ask the question, is there more to look into when it comes to pareidolia and why our brain sees and hears things the way it does? There's a lot more to be explored here and not just dismissed. I would actually say a lot of scientists would probably agree with that argument. However, it's not conducive to the mainstream narrative, so therefore it's pareidolia and you should ignore it. So you make your own decisions on that. Well, we will present our evidence anyway because we think there's something to it. Irregardless, I just think it's an unfair viewpoint, to be honest with you, and I feel it's an unfair on both sides. It's not. I don't think it's not conducive to... It might be conducive to the establishment view of science, but I don't actually think it's conducive to science as a whole. And that is because the scientific method basically is based on, the first premise of any science is to know you don't know, if that makes sense. I don't know if you agree with that argument.
Well, any science, really. I mean, if you look at the facts, I mean, scientists will tell you they only know 5% of any given field they're in.
Yeah, exactly.
Through research, I mean, we've only been really documenting. I mean, historically, stargazing and the way the planet moves and stuff has been quite documented by different cultures. But science today, I mean, it's pretty much all brand new. I mean, they've only just, the first ever image of a black hole was recently seen. It's still really all of it. You can do the maths on it, but it's all still, it's all just, it's all discovery. I mean, nobody knows what happens when you go near a black hole. Nobody really knows. I mean, you can sort of like say this and say that, but you don't really know. A brilliant one I saw, it was all these scientists, and it was basically saying they only know 5%. And this one guy said he was a consciousness expert, which I've got to be honest, made me chuckle.
I love this.
Because
Come on.
is he, who was he an expert, whose consciousness was he an expert of?
How can you be a consciousness expert when the only consciousness you know is your own?
Yeah, I mean, that's like me being a man saying I'm an expert on women. And that's like a woman saying she's an expert on... You don't know. I can take your word for it, but I don't really know what it's like to be, and
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that he must have really, like, put himself out there to become a consciousness expert. It's like, I've been doing the paranormal, like, coming up to 20 years, and I learn something new every time we investigate. And ideas just pop in your head. I mean, we've done cases, Jan. Things have just come to us.
Yeah.
I mean, good example when we were doing a reincarnation case, and we had to work out how to fix a problem that had occurred in this case, and that was just done on the fly, and it worked.
Yeah, we just had to trust our intuition on that one, and
Yeah.
we may be exploring that one in much more greater detail in a couple of weeks'
Hopefully.
time.
Hopefully, because it's one of them in the paranormal field. I suppose you have like the Warrens, and they did, they had their cases like the Annabelle and Amityville, and was it not the 30 East Drive? What's the other one? The Enfield Haunting.
Yeah.
And they have those sort of, and that is our case. That is the case. I've got like 3 cases that have defined my
absolutely.
paranormal experience, like, and that is one of them.
I can pick about 4 or 5, and I think that, definitely, that's one of the ones I'll always fondly remember. I'd like to say hello to Nancy, hello to Nina, and hello to Dan. Thank you for joining us. It's nice to see some new faces.
Hello, guys.
Here. We are going to get Richard access to the chat at some point.
I can't. Unfortunately, I can't see the chat. I just get a view of the now debate. I've got like 2 devices on the go, and I can't access either of them.
You need a third. Well, he has a
they'd
tablet.
about as much use as as much use as a chocolate teapot. So
you do have a tablet which you can use to access
that'd
the
be
chat.
3 devices. I just have a nosebleed and I'd just go into a coma or something if I had to use 3 devices. It'd be no good to me. Like, I have a nosebleed trying to use my phone. Do you know what I mean? I'm one of them. Like, so.
Well,
but yeah,
it's wonderful to see some new faces here joining us, and thank you to everyone that is sitting and enjoying the Now Debate this evening. It's absolutely wonderful to hear and please do join in, guys, and share your thoughts and opinions. We will try and showcase them on here as much as possible. What we're beginning to understand, and this is why we're going to do the second show this week, hopefully if we can get the chance to do it, is we want to honour the amount of contributions you guys have made to our work, because it has been absolutely amazing. Honestly, I can't stress it enough. The amount of things that you guys have shared that have opened our eyes, and from both sides of the argument, it's been so brilliant. We're going to talk about some skeptical stuff, especially around the Connects last week, and some more skeptical kind of arguments. So we want to see both sides of this and have the debate. This is why the show was called Now Debate. So American photographer Attila von Zali was among the first to try recording what he believed to be voices of the dead as a way to augment his investigations into photographing ghosts. He began his attempts in 1941 with a 78 RPM record, but it wasn't until 1956, after switching to a reel-to-reel tape recorder, that he believed he was successful for the first time. American photographer Attila von Zali was among the first to record what he believed to be the voices of the dead as a way of augment his investigations. I've read that twice now. I apologise, there's a slight issue. Some of the voices he recorded was "This is G, Hot Dog Artie, and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year." We'll have to see if we can find these recordings because it'd be very interesting to hear them. In 1959, Swedish painter and film producer Fredrik Jürgensen was recording bird songs. Upon playing the tape later, he heard what he interpreted to be his dead father's voice and in the spirit of his wife calling his name. He went on to make several more recordings, including one that he said contained a message from his late mother. I now want to go on to the Spiritcon and Frank's box. In 1980, William O'Neill constructed an electronic audio device called the Spiritcom. O'Neill claimed the device was built to specifications which he received psychically from George Mueller, a scientist who had died 6 years previously. At Washington, D.C. press conference in April 6, 1982, the year I was born, O'Neill stated that he was able to hold two-way conversations with spirits through the Spiritcom device that provided design specifications and researchers for free. However, nobody is known to have replicated the results O'Neill claimed using his Spiritcom device. O'Neill's partner, retired industrialist George Meek, attributed O'Neill's success and inability for others to replicate to O'Neill's mediumistic abilities, forming part of the loop that made the system work. Now, this is something we'll probably go back to because we have had, with our now investigation sessions, our ghost box sessions, spirits say the same thing. It is our connection with them that helps them to come through a lot more when we're using these devices. Obviously, the Frank's box, which was invented in 2002, was one of the very first documented spirit boxes. Spirit boxes are now available widestream and take various different forms using internet radio, sound banks, and the good old humble FM or medium wave radio. These devices are designed to create EVPs in a real time. We're not going to talk about spirit boxes today because we have talked about quite a lot of these on the channel. And there is loads more evidence to show, a bucket load more evidence. There's going to be plenty of time to talk about the spirit box and the different evidences that we've had from that. Today we're talking mainly about the humble old EVP. So this is where you have a recording device, either a camera or a piece of technology like a dictaphone or something, and these voices have appeared out of nowhere. What I personally find is that these devices, to me, are a representation of what someone will hear in clairaudience. Now, clairaudience is the act of being able to hear spirit, or people claim they can hear spirit. A lot of mediums will hear in their mind's eye, so they will actually hear it as a sound. They will hear it as like a thought, so they get the impression of the sound of the information coming through and not actually hear the sound. I have experienced quite a bit of clairaudience in the past. I probably don't experience it as much of others because it's probably the one aspect of psychic phenomena that not freaks me out, but that's the one that will get me on the back foot a little bit when I'm working mediumistically. What about you, Richard?
Well, EVPs. When I first started on this road, and a bit of interesting news. If we are lucky, we might be able to show you guys some of the EVPs we collected when we were Paranormal Wales. I've been speaking to my old Padawan today, and he's hopefully going to find them. He believes they're on a disc and they're on one of his hard drives, so fingers crossed, because there's a documentary on the page called An Interview with Ghost Hunters, and
that's
we
not
were
actually on our page, but it's not
actually on our page, is it?
Page. No, because it's a third-party documentary. I can't put it on the channel.
Oh, right, I thought it was. My apologies. No. Well, there is a documentary that we were in part of called Interview with Ghost Hunters. I'll try and find it. I'll speak to Mr. Savory, who directed it.
And Paranormal Wales and go to the Paranormal Wales YouTube channel, which is your old YouTube channel that you had.
Right.
It's part of it. It's not fully on there, but I think the first 10, 15 minutes of it are. It's a brilliant documentary, by the way.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. But I
Well,
think it's on there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, two of the cases that are on that documentary, two of the people involved in the cases, was the one we talked about, the photos of the foot and the objects in the window, and the other one we didn't isn't just in the documentary. Well, the one investigation we did about 2 hours of EVP work, and we had, without question, some of the most unbelievable EVPs I have ever heard, ever, of anyone. And we had to take it back to the family, and we had to show the lady the lady whose case we were doing. And I actually warned her against listening to them, because they were these were Class A and something else, right? These were Class A plus, and they were the person that done the documentary. Even he was like freaked out by them. And hopefully we're going to get the one from the photos, which was the one I talked about, where basically I was sat next to a reporter and I asked the question, and we went back and listened to it, and we went back and I showed the reporter, and I can remember seeing his face, because this EVP was so creepy. It was borderline demonic, this voice that came through. And I've always found them a little bit chilling. I can remember we'd done an investigation up towards Blackwood, and it was me and James Bamford. He used to be on my team, and now he's in New Zealand, and he had rigged up the dictaphone up to guitar amp, and we were asking questions, and it was this little boy's voice come through, and he said, "Where's my mummy?" And then it was a woman basically asking us questions, which was quite bizarre, about what we were doing. And yeah, I've always found them, out of all the sort of like evidence we can gather through our devices, I've always found them the most compelling and the most, it's most undebunkable, basically. And they've always sort of given me the chills, EVPs, because they can be really crystal, as you know, Jack, really crystal clear.
Yeah. Well, I find it. I love EVPs. Don't get me wrong. I love the spirit box stuff. That's the like you have with the Kinect. I love the spirit box stuff, which is kind of a weird thing for me, because I always loved visual stuff growing up. Although I'm registered blind, I was born with a camera in my hand. Honestly, I've always loved what you can capture on camera. But for me, it's funny how we both look at the paranormal in different ways, and we've had several discussions, sometimes debates, arguments, because we see the same thing in completely different ways sometimes. And I find them compelling, absolutely. But I it's one of them things that, like, I don't know, it's never sort of hearing it on camera and hearing it audibly myself. Now, when I hear it and have the experience myself, that I find slightly chilling, or not in a negative way, but in a kind of fun way. It was like, ooh, cool. But I suppose that's probably why the spirit box, to me, I find the most compelling personally. I can understand why other people don't, but it's funny how throughout our journeys we look at things from a different point of view, and it kind of does we kind of help each other in that sort of regards, don't we, I suppose? We complement each other.
Yeah, well, I've always had, now the experiences like that, I'm not sure if Amanda is actually listening, but I can remember when we first went to speak to Amanda, and on the first meeting, and we were sat on the settee having a cup of tea, it was me and Chris. It was back when we had Paranormal Wales, and we were just talking about what had been going on and different things, and the settee, basically tried to throw us off. And I can remember Chris's reaction to mine was quite different, because I can remember Chris just instantly was like, "Let's get the team, we're going." Right, and mine was like, I sort of had a bit of a giggle, because I was like, that was amazing.
That's the thing, yeah. It's funny how it affects us in different ways.
Yeah, but yeah, that is something, we had, me and Chris, when we first started, we had quite a few different really strong, compelling paranormal experiences. And I can remember he would be absolutely beside himself, and literally rocking in the corner. And I'd be just amazed and just laughing and thinking, this is the coolest thing that could possibly happen to a human being.
Yeah,
And it was just like sort of taking it. And I think that a lot to do with that was understanding and meditation, and like
yeah,
and Gwen teaching me about my ability and everything. And before that, when I was working in security, I used to call it a curse, disability. And then moving forward, learning about disability, learning to control it and turning off and turning on, it became a gift. And then, looking at the two people looking at the person back then who was absolutely petrified of the paranormal. And I
yeah.
mean, like, to me, it was like cruel, and it was unjust, and it was unfair, and nobody else was experiencing it like I was, and I had no one to turn to, and everything else. It was devastating.
The
And
only
then,
time it's ever scared me was that time we had the paranormal attack here when we first met, and
yeah,
we had that's the only time it's ever really really scared me. It made me
yeah.
jump, but that's the only time I actually felt extremely fearful of
Yeah.
it.
Oh, I used to be terrified. I've told you, I've fallen downstairs because of it. I've injured myself, because I was working security in these buildings at night, and the stuff that was happening to me it was movie script. It was biblical. And that change of mindset to make to going through that process of understanding that these spirits is the only way they can get your attention
Yeah,
was such a mind release and an eye opener that I couldn't tell you where the transition happened,
but
but
this
I know the difference in me
yeah.
compared to that person was incredible, and how I viewed the paranormal.
Well, this is the thing, and we had a discussion about this the other week, and I actually think, even though I've had experiences and done stuff for the last 6, 7 years, but the everything we had through the now investigations and everything we had, like my first experience when Gary was holding that spirit box when we were up near Castle Cork, right? And he said, it manipulates radio and it's chugging away, and it says my name, and that was like the coolest thing ever, right? At the
Yeah.
time, that transition that you're talking about now, I'm actually think I'm only now going through that, and
Mm.
I think the last year and a half of my life has been me going through that very similar transition, because
It yeah, it
up
is a
until
default
that
rabbit hole.
yeah, up until that point, I was always at odds with my
Yeah,
mediumship. I
yeah,
I was doing what people told me I should do and not doing it for me. And this last year and a half, this is one of the reasons why I stepped back for so long. Like, I don't really remember a lot of last year. And
mm,
my nephew came over earlier, and we were talking about the channel, and I was telling him about the lovely feedback we've had and all the rest of it. And he said, "Oh, we're in February again." I know February was always been because it's the anniversary of my brother's death and my father's death. February has always been like a big thing for me. I've always hated it. I've actually
mm,
gone into this February and I'm really excited. I'm really upbeat. I'm really like, I'm on a high. I'm feeling good about myself. I'm feeling good about my
yeah,
life, my work. I have a bit of direction. I know where I'm going. I know what I want to do. I know there's things I can work with you with. I know there's things I'm going to work with other people with. I know there's things I'm going to work on my own with. My relationships are good. My family life is good. I'm in the best place I've ever been in my entire life. And I said to my nephew, so I'm actually looking forward to it. I said,
mm,
I said, I don't know if I was like that last year. He said, yeah. He said, I came over last year on the anniversary of your father's passing. He said, I said, you didn't even know it was happening. He said, you were in such a place last year that, it was around about that time where my partner sat me down and said that if you don't sort yourself out, you're going to have a breakdown. because I have a piece of memory missing of walking dogs and walking up the middle of a road, and that's the place I was in. I had to go to that place to understand all the different things that was happening to me, and that's the difficult thing when it comes to, when you're dealing with these things and dealing with the
Well, when you're
paranormal.
dealing with anything on a spiritual level,
Yeah.
right, one of the things you will have to go through is you will have to be shown your inner self.
Yes.
And what you won't realise that you're looking at your inner self until the outside is falling apart.
Yeah.
And it is lucky for me, I had a concept because of my relationship with spirit. I had a concept of where I could potentially go.
Yeah.
And going through the church thing and the meditation, because meditation I recommend it to anybody that's listening, or anybody who's going to listen to this show. If you get the opportunity, meditation, before anything else, is number one recommended, to just go through an experience and just take a look inside and see what your mind will come up with and what's being brought in through that process of like going deep into yourself and everything, and your world will be blown. And it's never really a bad thing. Anything that is bad, that you perceive as bad, is coming from a place inside you, and is there for a purpose. Right? And I never think this is like, because I went through it with meditation. It was neg, and it was only through the understanding of where the journey I was about to go on in the paranormal, where I would have to deal with negativity on a regular basis, that I understood that was necessary to understand how we work, how ourselves work, how these things, can completely swamp our minds. And it is, that's the thing. People just think going on the paranormal journey is going to be like, I'm going to get some status, they're going to think I'm a ghost hunter. No, it's not. It's going to open you up to all sorts.
Well, we've got some things on the chat here, okay, and actually on this. Nicole says, I'll never meditate again. I had a horrific experience. I did message Jared about it. Nicole, if I haven't responded to that, just go to the Paranormal Now Facebook page, drop us a message, my love, and I'll have a chat to you about it.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Definitely we'll talk about that.
At the end of the day, the one thing I'm going to add, because I want to start showing some clips because time is getting away from us, and I do have to finish up this today, is that what I would say is you don't have to sit in a circle and go, you can meditate in different ways. You can meditate while you're walking. I don't actually sit and meditate these days.
What was the lady's name, Chad, that just said about the meditation?
Nicola.
Nicola, if you go on the messenger page, I'll give you my phone number and we can have a chat about it.
Yeah.
Okay. I find it easier to chat than type because I'm not very good at typing. And if you want to chat about it, and got any concerns, anybody, they can find us on the internet. They can find us through Messenger. They can message on the YouTube. If you've got any queries and you want to chat, we're here.
If you're having problems in your home, just go to paranormalnowinvestigations.com and click the I Need Help tab, and there'll be a way of contact. Both our numbers are on there if you need to contact one of us. And you can also email paranormalnow@outlook.com. Also, if you have any stories you'd like us to share on the channel, any evidence you'd like to share on the channel, drop us an email to paranormalnow@outlook.com, and we will be happy to do that.
So we're going to get the videos on now, are we?
Yeah, so she said she has spoke to you on one of the videos. If you want to message us through Facebook, Nicole, if you need any further help, just go to facebook.com/paranormalnow, click the message button, drop us a quick message, and or you can email on the addresses I just said. And if there's any further help we can give you, meditation isn't for everyone. because it doesn't work. I know people who've got very,
Not
very
if you're
gifted.
not if you're not prepared for it. If you just sort of like something you just think, oh, I'll give that a go. It should come with like instructions to say what could happen.
Yeah,
I believe, but it is if it's done. It depends where you are, but
yeah,
if it's done and you're in the right place,
yeah.
it's amazing.
What I would say is there are different ways for different people. And I think that's just my opinion, and maybe we disagree on that slightly, Rich. But
Yeah,
when I've done development groups, I know people who have got to the same place, but
I
they
know
just
lots of people who struggle with meditation.
yeah,
Lots.
yeah, absolutely. Right, we're going to go into the videos then, guys. So I'm going to show you a group of videos. So we're going to go through a group of them and discuss them. Okay. The first lot is some of you may have seen these before on the channel. They are from an abandoned hospital. Okay, so I'm going to play them in quick succession. One will be this was the one featured in Wales Online, and the second one will be a slowed down version of this, and the third will be a third EVP that we picked up from this specific place. So have a look and see what you think about this. We'll be with you in a second.
I heard something. Sounded like you were wheezing.
I think we're pretty much.
Just to do it a little bit like
Oh shit. Huh?
Is there something outside?
I don't know. More been something outside. So he's in there. It's brand new, isn't it?
No. It's good.
Huh?
It's good. Yeah.
Just hang on, things in the pocket.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Right, I think the third clip, I apologise guys, but the third clip isn't the one I wanted to show. It has got a couple of EVPs on there. They are not as clear. But yeah, there was one I wanted to show, which is the Whoops EVP. But I will have to come back to that one and show it in a later video. I apologise for that. Yeah, that shouldn't have happened. So I do apologise for that. I am going to very quickly show you another EVP now, where my name is called. This is an EVP recorded at Abergavenny Chronicle. This was a public investigation that we did, and I want to just quickly show you this EVP and see what you think.
Right, okay, let's try going this way then. Let's try going this way. Right, okay, let's try going this way then. Let's try going this way.
This next EVP is from a investigation that we did at the old police station in Tonopandi, which is now a community centre, and this was as we were walking through a door. Now, the only people in the room are myself, Richard, another gentleman by the name of Hugh, and Martin, who you've seen on the channel before, and this is a voice which appears to be female, and there was no females present.
Just when I look.
Sorry, Hugh, I keep shutting the door on you, don't I?
No, just pretend I know you. It's fine. That's the idea behind it. I'm just documenting it and all that.
You done it again?
Like, I'll do.
No, just pretend I know you. It's fine. That's the idea behind it. I'm just
And there you go. We do have one more to show, but we're going to get some feedback. We're going to go back through the chat now because we've got some brilliant comments of people. Nicole's basic. We've said, I find it amazing connecting with spirit. It baffles me that they will never describe or tell us about the afterlife. Why? There are books, like for example, Dr. Michael Newton's Journey of Souls, where there have been, descriptions of the afterlife. But again, there's very few that will actually come from the afterlife telling you about the afterlife. Yeah, absolutely. I think there's good reason for that. Amanda says, I remember Chris practically crying in my bedroom because the bedroom door slammed. And when the sofa flipped while you and Richard and Chris were not on it, Chris couldn't leave the house quick enough.
Chris, brilliant. Right, love the technology. Absolutely useless at investigating because he was terrified of the paranormal.
Christy says, always protect yourself. Nicole said, I had months of bad experiences until I asked for what was with me. Nothing's happened since. Chris says, hey Para now. Hi Chris, nice to see you. And he says, I've camped at Abergavenny. Butchered the spelling though. did a long hike there. And Christy says some of the EVPs loud and clear. Very clear EVPs is what Amanda said. Your thoughts, Richard, on take them as a group because some of these we've shown before, but we've never really given our thoughts on them. So your thoughts, my friend.
The first one in the hospital, the one where it said, "Are you with us or not? Be warned." Yeah. I mean, we had no apps. We thought that night we captured nothing, and it was only when we listened back to the evidence that these things are brilliant. That one is amazing. I've had loads of people say that, that's one of their favourites and it's creepy. The one in the police station, same thing, very bizarre, right? It needs more scrutiny because, as we've said, we've had some say that it sounds like one of us. It does sound female if you listen to it. The thing is, unless they're crystal clear, it is a hard thing. You're going to have the skeptics who are going to say, oh, there's something else, it's this, it's that, right? Which you've got to, you need it, right?
Rightly,
otherwise you can all just get, otherwise you can all just get lost with the fairies.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the ones we've captured, like we talked about, the one we got in the Workman's Hall before, we were on about...
yeah, we've got that. That's the last one. We're going to play the show out with that one.
All right, that's right. Fair enough, that's coming up. Yeah, really... I mean, but this is what we're showing for. We want you guys to form an opinion of them more than anything. I know what I know of them, and from my experiences with spirit, I just wanted to convey on this. With spirit, not telling you what the other side's like. There is evidence. Funny thing, a person brought it to me today, and they said that their dad had come through on a ghost hunt on a Ouija board, and when they asked him, "Is there a God?" he said no. Now, I was like, Well, normally when I've talked to spirit, they talk about heaven quite regularly. Mm-hmm. But they don't go into detail because it's a funny thing, and I've always said this, there's a line I think we're not allowed to cross. And I think these things that we capture, these EVPs and the stuff we capture through the devices, is just enough to pique your interest and to get you questioning it, because through, like I said earlier, through the development of spirituality and in search of spirits and stuff, you sort of grow. Are you right, Jazz?
Someone just said in the chat. What did the skeptic say to the medium? You're reading into things too much.
Nice.
That's
Nice.
brilliant.
I know quite a few medium jokes actually, but anyway, yeah, it's one of them things. Is the reason they don't go into detail is because there's just a line we're not supposed to know. We have faith is an important part of life,
I would
and if we, I think no, yeah, I think if we knew 110% there was heaven, the world would be a weird place, because there's things that we need to go through as souls and as people to progress and learn from. And once we get to the part, it's like I made a point earlier before the now debate started. Somebody said about one of our videos, and they said about leaving a good person leaves things for the future, makes the we leave the world better than we found it. And I think that's a part of not knowing what's next, is to make sure we leave it, because through the evidence we found evidence for reincarnation and other things. And if that's the case, then we come back to this world, then we are making it better for ourselves, which is a big, is a big mind concept thing to think about. But we're leaving it better for ourselves, and I think that's why spirits don't really delve into what's next. I think we're not. I genuinely in my heart. And it sounds like a cop-out, but it's not. I understand it. I was told this through meditation. I think you're not allowed to know.
This is a part where I think it's a case of disagreeing, quite fundamentally, actually. I don't think it's a case of not allowed to know, because I don't like that concept, personally, right? And I don't think we'll ever meet in the middle on that one, right? Because it's just... I think it's more to do with the frame of reference. Here on Earth, you do not have a frame of reference for heaven. Now, I do have memories of being in spirit. I am not going to go into those memories in public because they are intimate to me. They are. And they are not memories that I would share. But when you look into things like, for example, Michael Newton's Journey of Souls, where he's gone through life between life regressions, I think the experience is unique to each individual. So if, for example, when spirit talk about God, when it comes through to us, they've talked of it in the frame of reference that we know and understand. I had a communication with spirit through meditation the other day, and I was talking to my brother, and he said, you got to think of it like a TV show. He said, now, God is the executive producer of the TV show of life. He says he wants you to love that TV show because he loves it. It's like Gene Roddenberry creating Star Trek. He's created those characters, he's created those situations. He wants you to take something from that because it's his creation. He loves that creation because he created it. And it's the same sort of relationship. When you look at it from that perspective, if someone turned around and said, Jesus is here, for example, or it is definitely refers to it as heaven, they will say, you know it as heaven. Because if I was from a Muslim background, or Swahili background, or a Hindu background, I would interpret it in a different way. So if it was proved that the Bible was true, and the Quran wasn't, what damage is that going to do to the people who view life from that perspective? I actually think, sorry, if you let me just a second.
Yeah.
There's truth in all of it. But when you actually look down to the nitty gritty, even when people have described through things that are like life between life regression, it all boils back down to the same psychology, the same interactions as we have here on Earth. That's my view on it. So I don't think it's a case of what you're allowed to know. I think we are at a point in our evolution as a society where groups of us may understand it, but we'll only understand it as it relates to us. I just think we're not ready to understand it as a people, as a society yet.
Well, yeah, that is part of not being, able to know is we are where we are as a species.
Yeah.
But the other part is, what if every spirit had the capability to tell us what heaven was like, and they said, oh yes, 25,000 years of A-levels. Do you know what I mean? You'd be pretty like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Is it you go into school for the next 25,000 years and then you come back to Earth? You're going to be a bit reluctant to go. So, I mean, there's that concept, but I think there is, for me, of what I've learned and what Spirit have told me, there's just a boundary. And people cross it. They have past life experiences. People do cross that boundary. There's well-documented cases of it with children. If we look at there used to be a show on called It's a Miracle, and these children, there was a gentleman with a bomb. The bomb blew up. All the kids, when they were interviewed by the sheriff, saw their grandparents. Some of these children pointed them out in photo fits. They'd never seen them before. And, the teachers said they don't know what happened. They saw angels and everything. You look at it, there's people who have crossed that line and they've come back to tell the story. That happens globally every day.
Yeah.
But it's just like to physically push yourself there. I don't think that is,
No, I think you will go through it when you're meant to go. Not when you're meant to go through, but when you're ready to accept it.
Yeah.
Then.
When it's got to be sort of like part of your journey. I don't think you can just go, right, I'm going to go knock on God's door.
This is why we stopped doing ghost boxes in front of random people. I remember going to one of our events and seeing a lady after the ghost box session, and I've been haunted by that lady's look since that day, because I felt that I showed her something she wasn't ready to accept, and I wouldn't be surprised if that caused a lot of hardship.
Well, I mean, if you look at the paranormal field at the moment, like through social media, there is some crazy stuff going on, which we'll talk about on the weekend.
Yeah, we'll talk about it on the weekend, because I have found something on the channel and we will show it. Rich, remind me, I will speak to you about that after the show. You guys will get to hear it on this weekend when we talk about it, because that is going to be definitely something we're going to be looking at, because I have found something absolutely brilliant. It's part of our Council of 12 stuff that we've had, right?
Right.
And I believe it's a prediction that has come true.
Oh. Okay.
And it's about the paranormal field in general.
Okay.
So a bit of if you guys, I was thinking Sunday. Are you free Sunday?
Sunday. Yeah, it should be Sunday. It should be free Sunday.
What about like a Sunday afternoon live stream?
Okay. Yeah, we can have a look at it.
Sunday afternoon tea with Paranormal Now. How does that sound?
Sounds lovely.
Well, we'll get your cups of tea ready, guys, because we're about, like, say, 2:00 on a Sunday. Sound good for you?
I'll take it easy on the Brussels sprouts, so I'm not blowing the mic off my phone.
Well, there we go. We'll go for about 2:00, hopefully. Watch the space, watch the channel, guys. But we're gonna go for we're hopefully gonna go for Sunday. Right, and I just want to read off some final chat quotes, which has been about EVPs, but we tend to explore quite a few things here. And I like we might find that the Sunday stream is going to be, probably going to be a bit of a long one, though, Rich, because there's a lot to go through. Is that going to be okay? It's probably going to be an hour or two, because there's going to be a lot to go through. There's a lot of stuff that are different subjects. Yeah. Brilliant. Okay. Amanda says sounds great. Chris said good. Suzanne said that's pretty good. Hopefully, and hopefully get Rich on chat. Yes, we do need to get Rich on chat without blowing his mind up somehow.
Yes.
I want to say hi to Bumfluff Paranormal. That's brilliant. Okay, thank you. Right, it's a lot of people are agreeing with the sentiments that we've said about the afterlife. So, is there any further words you would like to say, Rich, before we close out tonight's show?
Yeah, Bumfluff Paranormal.
That's what someone's name is in the chat.
Are you sure? Are you sure you read that properly?
I have.
Okay. I'm gutted. I didn't think of that name. I'm gutted. No. Yeah. Any thoughts? Final thoughts? Yeah. Well, I mean, this is the thing. right? Anybody can do an EVP, right? You've all got dictaphones on your phone, right? And if you are going into this, if you are going out there and you're curious about this stuff, just be cautious, because, like I say, once you see something, you can never unsee it. But that goes for the same. Once you hear something, you can never unhear it. So just really think about it before you go out there and think, oh, I want to hear what a ghost sounds like. Just take that on board, okay? Just really think about it, because it can be quite scary.
Well, we're going to play you out with a... it has been on the channel, but I think with you guys watching, you probably would like to see it, because we released it a good few years ago now. It's a video called Walter's Story, and it involves an investigation that we did at Caerphilly Workman's Hall. The EVP that we're going to look into is at the end of this, but we're going to play this video out because it's already a fully made video on the channel. But we're going to play this now debate out with that video, and that is probably the clearest EVP that we have found. Thank you very much for joining us, guys.
Thank you,
for all
guys.
your incredible comments. We will have a video out at the end of the week. We're going for Tuesdays, Fridays and Sundays. Sunday's video is going to probably be the debate, because we need to get that together, and the feedback session, looking at all you guys' comments and all you guys' feedback and stories you shared with us. I can't wait for that. It's a session I'm most excited to do. We've got a few things lined up for the Now Debate over the next couple of weeks. We will talk more about that on Sunday. Thank you very much, guys. I've been Jared Walters.
I've been Richard Oliver.
And you guys take very good care of yourselves.
Love and light, Parapeeps.
Love and light, Parapeeps. Take care.
I know there was Walter, I think it was Walter Davis, was very involved in it from the beginning. I think he's in a couple of the pictures. AGM will be held at the Piccadilly in Caerphilly, Tuesday evening, February the 1st, 1921. There you are, W. Davis, treasurer. That's Walter, who's in the picture downstairs. Well, the building itself was paid for by the workers and the miners of Caerphilly. They used to have a small amount taken out of their salary every week, and that's how they paid for the building to be constructed. And it was built in 1924, officially opened in 1925. It would have been used for variety shows, entertainment. Underneath, downstairs, you'd have had the games room, which would have been strictly men allowed. And you'd have had the billiards and snooker maybe down there. You had the welfare room backstage, the reading room where they could read the newspapers, and it's been used as a cinema then for a good number of years. Then it became a bingo hall, and it was used for the local pensioners for their weekly meeting, and now we're trying to bring it back to becoming a really good entertainment venue, a venue for the arts.
Are there any spirits with us now that would like to communicate with us? We mean you no harm. We've come here tonight to see if you would like to contact us or communicate with us, as we are interested in this building, and we may be coming here to do stuff with the building and try and keep it running, and that's all we're here for. We're not here to harm you or move you on or anything at all. We just want to communicate with you. Is the spirit of Walters here please with us now? Can you come forward and communicate with us? Or the caretaker? Can you give us a sign? Can you tap on something? Or move something? There's something upstairs. He showed me them books. And he's saying, he was having a bit of a rant then, that's why I was trying to listen to him. He was saying, it wouldn't have happened in my day. This wouldn't have happened in my day. That's what he was saying. There's something happening.
When you say upstairs, I was in.
Yeah, there's like a room upstairs with all these really old books. It was amazing. Yeah, it's the It's the third book across, and he's pointing it out. The third book from the left. And there's something. There's something important in here. I'm trying to.
So what have we got there?
So we're just taking a shot from the seating area now. It's just seeing orb just in here. We captured a few here. So that's the one.
Okay, cool. So what do they show then?
Well, people believe that the orb is a manifestation of a spirit. So we picked a few up in these. There's actually a light in that one, but we picked up another one just across the way from that. So there's a number of orbs there. So I mean, taking various shots, we sat in the same position. We had a couple of clear shots where we had nothing. Again, that was the last one, same area, and we didn't really pick up any orbs in there. But the others, we obviously got quite clear ones.
One spirit at a time, please. You'll get your chance. Come one spirit at a time, communicate with us, please. Stanley, are you still with us? Is there a different spirit with us now? Walter, are you with us?